I'm pinpointing chilly temperatures and patchy fog for your morning commute.
Plus, that FBI top 10 most wanted arrested here turns out has more connections to Florida than we first thought.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood now at 11 p.m.
Tonight, a new report shows a career child sex criminal wanted out of Missouri planned to travel to Florida to meet up with a child a year ago. And just yesterday, he was arrested in Central Florida on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. But first, tonight, state lawmakers are heading back to Tallahassee tonight for a special session called by Governor Ron DeSantis to try and tackle some of the state's crises and a new federal priority. Good evening to you. I'm Eric Von Aken. Glad you're staying up with us late tonight. We appreciate that. Governor DeSantis is calling the session for several reasons, even though preparing for President Trump's new immigration policies appears to be at the top of his list. News 6's Emily McLeod took a look at what our lawmakers will take on over the next several days and weeks. And just today, lawmakers filed more bills that they hope will be discussed during the session, including a bill that would require state and local police to be trained by customs and immigration agents to be able to perform certain ICE agent duties. Another bill would repeal a law that gives dreamers in-state college tuition, and another that would overhaul the ballot initiative process, which allows paid petition gatherers to get signatures to get proposed laws onto the ballot. We've got a full breakdown of everything set to be discussed on our website, clickorlando.com, for you. President Trump has announced massive tariffs and sanctions against Colombia after that country rejected 2 flights carrying undocumented migrants from the U.S. Now, Colombia's president says he has ordered a 25% tariff on U.S. imports in retaliation. The Colombian president says that the country will not take any migrants until the Trump administration treats them with dignity. The U.S. Border Czar says the deportations are going to ramp up in the coming days.
You're going to see the number steadily increase, the number of arrests nationwide as we open up the aperture. Right now it's concentrating public safety threats, national security threats.
The U.S. official tells CBS News the Colombia migrants who were scheduled to be deported today on planes are back in the U.S. and will remain in the custody of the Department of Homeland Security until a new agreement is reached. Former Florida Senator and now Secretary of State Marco Rubio also got in on the action, posting on X, quote, "It is the responsibility of each nation to take back their citizens who are illegally present in the United States," end of quote. He also said the Colombian president originally had okayed the flights, but then canceled when those planes were in the air. Marco Rubio was confirmed as Secretary of State last week. Throughout this week, confirmation hearings will continue for more of the president's cabinet nominees. They include Secretary of Health and Human Services nominee Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Trump's pick for FBI Director Kash Patel, and his choice for National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard. Our other big story tonight, the warm-up. It is much more bearable tonight in downtown Orlando. Looking live from our Light Orlando camera. Fog is on the way, but the warm-ups continuing through the work week. Meteorologist Samara Kokinas was pinpointing it all for us, especially the fog, Samara. Potentially dangerous driving in the morning for anybody commuting.
That's right. At least for a few hours during that morning commute, we could be dealing with some patchy fog. Right now, visibilities are 10 miles, even though it says 6 miles at Cocoa Beach. I do believe that's an incorrect reading because it just updated from 1 to 6 at this point. So I do believe right now we are relatively clear, but as we head into the overnight hours and I take you hour by hour, you'll notice we get closer to 6 o'clock in the morning. Visibilities have now dropped anywhere between about 3 and 5.5 miles. They'll continue to drop through at least the 8 o'clock hour. Again, staying between anywhere between about 3 and 5 miles for that early morning commute. You could run into a few areas where you see some dense fog at times, especially in rural areas or low-lying areas. But by mid-morning, everything will start to improve. So once we get through that fog, we'll have a dry and sunny start to the work week, and it's actually going to be nice. We're talking about average warmth for tomorrow, and then I'm pinpointing a warming trend that does include temperatures getting back to the 80s, Eric. So get ready to get rid of the long sleeves for a little bit and to break out the tank tops. I'll break down all of those details coming up in minutes.
Quite a change, Samara. Thanks. Talk to you soon. A child sex criminal on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list arrested here in Central Florida after years on the run. We told you last night that this guy, Donald Fields III, was picked up in Lady Lake during a traffic stop. And we, like you likely, have lots of questions for investigators, like, what was he doing here and how long was he here? News 6's Jarrell Baker is working on answers and discovered the Florida connection goes deeper than we were originally told. The Lady Lake Police Chief, Steve Hunt, said he was very proud of his officer who made that traffic stop. Chief Hunt took over the department about a year and a half ago. And when I interviewed him last June for my Getting Results Protecting Our Community segment, he told me about the big changes he's been making there at the department, including raising officer pay by 36% to get the best police officers from around the country to come and work for him in Lady Lake, like that officer that made the arrest over the past several days. He said the previous salaries were far below normal. One of the first things the chief did was put dashboard cameras in every patrol car and body-worn cameras on every officer. There were none before the new chief got there. Right now, working to learn more about reports of a child hit by a car earlier tonight. According to preliminary reports, an 8-year-old was hit by a pickup on Windmill Ridge Loop, that's off Avalon Park Boulevard over by Castle Creek and Camelot Elementary Schools. Troopers tell us the driver who hit the child stayed at the scene. The boy's in the hospital tonight and expected to be okay. No word on if there will be any charges. And if this story sounds familiar, it's probably because of a very similar crash that happened last week. A 6-year-old boy hit by a man police say was driving drunk, ran through a stop sign. That man, Francisco Rosillo Ariola, is facing a slew of charges, including vehicular homicide. And a multi-car crash shut down a very big stretch of I-95 by Titusville. You can see the highway bumper to bumper here, just a few cars kind of eking by those flashing lights of patrol cars. Troopers say the crash involved 4 cars and put a person in the hospital. We were asking questions like what exactly happened, how is that person doing, and who is at fault here. When we get those answers, we'll let you know. We're hearing from Legoland tonight after a federal notice warned of a massive layoff at the park that it would impact more than 200 workers there. In a statement to News 6 today, Legoland said that they are changing how they approach entertainment, saying in part, quote, "The decision to reduce the size of some of our teams was undoubtedly difficult, but these changes will allow the resort to operate more flexibly," end of quote. I told you last night a federal notice warned 234 employees are set to lose their jobs starting at the end of March, mainly employees, as we said, working in entertainment. Just a few days after a truck slammed into the front of their building, a local nonprofit is looking to continue getting results before they even start to rebuild. We hear from the founder who says the tragedy is not going to stop their mission, their plan. You're watching News 6, getting results for all of Central Florida. We're back in 2 minutes on this Sunday night. We're hearing from the founder of the nonprofit tonight that was badly damaged this weekend when a pickup truck crashed, that's the truck, through the front of the building, as you can see. The One Heart for Women and Children charity was handing out food at the time, along with the founder inside. She says the driver of the car was coming to get some food and calls this whole thing a freak accident. That is a good attitude. Getting results attitude. It's not just going to take hands, it's going to take money. So One Heart is asking, hey, if you'd like to help them fix the building as well as pay for the food that was damaged in this crash, we put a link to their charity on our website. You can head over there right now on the homepage of clickorlando.com. Wishing them luck. Meteorologist Samir Kokinas back with us. So we got to talk about the fog. It depends when you get in your car tomorrow morning, but you may run into this and it might be a problem.
Right, and we have to talk about this one question that everyone keeps asking me. They say, hey, tell me some good news. And I'm like, I know what you want. I know what you want.
Some heat.
The 70s.
Okay.
They want the 70s and they want the 80-degree weather because Florida decided to participate in winter this year, and boy, have we really been. I mean, the good news is for that charity, they will have slightly warmer temperatures by the afternoon. Tomorrow morning, though, we will be off to a chilly start. We were off to a chilly start today as we look live from our Light Orlando camera, delivering hope together. Downtown Orlando is beautiful, but we woke up this morning at 43 degrees this morning. We got up to 73, about 1 degree above the average for this time of year. Not a bad setup. In fact, it was a beautiful afternoon. Now temperatures have cooled down. We're back to the upper 40s to low to mid 50s across the board. So not a bad start. But when we look at it compared to 24 hours ago, we're anywhere between about 2 and 7 degrees warmer than we were. So that tells us that we still have that warming trend, and it will get even better. So let's plan out and show you exactly what to expect. Monday morning, there will be that patchy fog through at least mid-morning to contend with on that morning commute. So be careful out there. But we do have a stretch of dry weather headed our way, and also it's going to be turning breezy late in week as high pressure reinforces and then kind of shifts off to the east. We're going to see the wind come back out of the southeast, and that is basically going to lead to temperatures, that's right, back to the 80s by next weekend. So we do have some warmer weather on the way. As for the deep south, another cold front definitely rolling through, bringing some rain anywhere from Alabama going into Georgia tonight. High pressure just off our coast, keeping us nice and dry. So as I take you through the forecast, here's a look at your pinpoint accurate forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency? You ought to call Strata.
Start the clock at 11 and we roll through tomorrow morning. There will be that patchy fog to contend with on that morning commute. Visibilities between about, I would say, 3 to 5 miles through at least mid-morning. There could be areas where it does get a little bit thicker. By the afternoon, though, plenty of sunshine, hardly any clouds to contend with. Definitely a warm afternoon, and then we're clearing back out by tomorrow night with fairly clear conditions lingering. But I can tell you now, the warming trend that we're looking at, look at this. February 1st through February 5th. When we look at the outlook, you'll notice that much of the deep south is in this warmer category. So that is telling us that we're not out of the woods completely in terms of winter right now, but at least for the short term, what we can say is we do have some temperatures where we're going to see either, I would say, around average or getting up there well above average, and next weekend is definitely an indication of that trend. For tonight, though, we will see lows in the mid to upper 40s and even to the mid 50s in the Brevard County area. Again, areas of patchy fog through at least mid-morning. So if you are headed out there to the bus stop or if you're driving on your morning commute, keep in mind there will be children waiting in that patchy fog, so be on the lookout for them. They'll need jacket. Temperatures will be right at 49, warming up to a nice 73 degrees by the afternoon. Now let's get you some results and show you pinpoint accurate 7-day forecast. And as we head into the week, here's what I'm talking about. Late week, that warm up really kicks it up a notch. We're going from the mid 70s Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, back up to 77 and 78 for Thursday and Friday, and then we kick it up a notch a little bit more. Right? Bam! As I think, what was that? Emeril Lagasse used to say that?
Yeah.
Lower 80s heading into next weekend, but there will be a front. The timing of that front is still unknown as of right now. It's kind of off on the model, so I'm thinking as of right now that front is actually going to move through by the end of next weekend.
Okay. I thought Samara Kokinas says it, and Emeril stole
I say
it
boom, actually.
from
I say
you.
Boom.
So, yeah, he should start saying that. We all should. Thank you. Here, tonight's winning lottery numbers for you. The Fantasy 5 is 34, 19, 3, 35, and 7. Pick 2 is 40. Pick 3 is 044. Pick 4 is 6749. Pick 5 is 92177. The Fireball is 8. And Cash for Life is 31, 35, 51, 50, 43. The Cash Ball is 2. All right, bam, Ryan Welch is here with sports. Familiar feel to this year's Super Bowl.
Eric, home teams have been tough to beat in these playoffs, and that pattern held true in today's conference championship games. Coming up, how the Eagles dismantled a division rival and how the Chiefs stymied the Bills yet again. Before we go to break, Roger Penske finds more success at Daytona. His team taking the checkered flag at the Rolex 24 today. We will be right back.
It's really about getting the truth, trying to dig down and figure out how this story impacts you.
These stories matter not just to us, but to the entire community.
But we want to make sure you have everything you need to know, that we answer all of your questions.
That we're breaking down the whole story, what matters to you, and getting the answers you want.
Because that's what you need to know before you go to bed.
News 6 at 11.
No matter what's happening where you live, trust Sky 6 to get you the bigger picture. Exclusively sponsored by attorney Dan Newland.
Welcome back. Death, taxes, Von Anken's dad jokes, and the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. It is starting to become another of life's certainties. Tonight, they had to get through their recent nemesis, Buffalo, in the AFC title game. All right, so Eagles-Chiefs in a couple of weeks should be a good one. We'll be right back.
Trooper Steve on Patrol is sponsored by Gibson Truck World. We are the king of trucks.
Okay, so we will have fog in the morning through mid-morning. Then after that, plenty of beautiful weather for the week ahead. We're talking mid-70s Monday through Wednesday, upper 70s, nearing 80 by next weekend.
What makes a joke a dad joke?
Should ask you that.
That's the answer. Thanks for staying up with us.